Okay, I believe we are live. Let me just switch to my live dashboard. And all right. Apparently we're starting. And we're live. Okay. So I finished up last time on this option here. I actually moved a lot of the stuff around into one piece. I'm not all that happy with it, but this kind of started going in the right direction. Like, I like the way the roll cartridge turned out, and I'm not very fond of this little piece, even though it basically makes the head rotate left and right. It kind of makes it look way too much like this one accessory that you see a lot of in, let's see, whatchamacallit, let me just Google this. The Ruff, apparently. That's what the Ruff's. Yep. Yeah, so this looks way too much like a Ruff, which kind of gives it almost kind of comic-y Shakespearean look, which is, you know, the first thing everybody says. Like, hey, that looks like something Shakespearean with, you know, Shakespearean, like, time period, so to speak. It's, yeah, so I don't really like that, even though it serves the purpose of rotating the head. Now, I was drawing a couple of things during work yesterday, so I'm gonna try those things out, and if that works, then that works. I kind of want to be done with this. Like, my time frames for these pieces are a little too long. I'm spending like 2 days on one piece, which is nowhere near the productive type. But anyway, so what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna expand canvas. Yeah, so I'm going to expand the canvas size twice into that direction. So now we have that, and now we have space to draw. So before, and this is still like in the draft layer. I mean, I would still have to like trace all of this stuff, so let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so I do have my papers from that I was drawing yesterday at work. I'm gonna try to. There was something that I came across. There was an idea that seemed to have been pretty close to what I wanted. Like, the pelvis, the way the pelvis mechanism is on right now, this like general trouser shape is not really what I want to do. Not entirely. So what I found out is when I was doing these, when I was doing something like, let's see, where was it? Something like this here, where the legs were sticking out the sides. I couldn't go with that, first of all, because, you know, we have our arm that would not be able to go straight down, which, you know, then again, I have to think about that stuff when I'm animating the model. So what I figured is, instead of doing this, because this is starting to look way too modern, although it works, which is why I'm going to keep this piece, although it works, I kind of want to try to see what would happen, and this is from one of my sketches that I did at work yesterday. What would happen if I did the pelvis smaller and the torso wider? still keeping it within the non-buff looking average general shape. So I don't want this to be, you know, a superhero type shape. Just gotta warm up. So keeping that in mind, I'm gonna try that first. And I do have just, I think, 2 pages of sketches I did. It's a goddamn miracle I'm actually able to get away with this stuff. Just drawing at work. It's God. So one more thing that I was thinking about is thin legs, bigger body. But then it would like logically it wouldn't really make sense. I could draw it like that. Like I could draw, you know, thin legs and it would look interesting. It would look more interesting than this. But then, you know, if I want to do exposed parts, then, you know, suddenly thin legs don't really make sense. It's kind of like when you look at the robots movie, the cartoon, they have thin legs and pistons for their legs and arms, but you know, where do the electronics go, the mechanisms go? So that's kind of, you know, I think I just get way too hell-bent on making things appear functional. So, you know, if you look at these characters, see pistons and joints and ball joints. You know, the one thing I kind of trying to avoid, ball joints. The lazy man's solution to making functional arms and legs. As you can see, you know, like I've gone through as much as doing that, where, you know, this one does the forward and backward movement, this one does the up and down movement. So, which means that basically that's your range right there. And for this stuff, I'd probably be repeating the same idea I have here. And I want to have, like, I'm trying to go for this, this 80s, well, not even 80s, like 50s, 60s electronics case it's not square, but it's not round, and, you know, there's sort of shape there, but there's no shape at all. I'm gonna have to figure out the legs, so let's go ahead and try this. Still have to warm up, but, you know. Let's see, so let's do the legs first. So my idea was that I do something like this. So we have the middle point here. And this will be the pelvis area. So then I still go with the general, you know, like tube encasement. You know, just because that'll give me the ability to animate the body up and down. And then I kind of just do this. Kind of looks like the Iron Giant solution. That's what they had for the the upper body and the lower. The pelvis was just smaller, and it kind of made him look like a superhero, which is, you know, kind of the whole theme when he goes super bad and, you know, bam, into a nuke. Okay, so could I go with something like this, actually? I mean, once again, that just looks way too superhero-ish. Alright, let's see. Gotta change the name of the stream. That's something a bit more appropriate. It is extremely hot in here today. Like, it is slightly windy, but it's pretty humid, and it's like, you know, it's summer when We're, you know, getting close to summer. Ah, fuck it. You know what? For me, there's no such thing as spring or fall. No. For me, there's just summer and winter. You know? First snow, it's winter. All snow thawed out, it's summer. That's it. There's no spring. Because, you know, freaking springtime comes and there's still snow. And you're like, what? You know, it's freaking March. What are you doing? That's just how I am. Okay, now when it comes to these bodies, kind of want to maybe have a rounded thing here. So it's still, you know, it's still below this line. Go. I think generally we're kind of in the ballpark of a proper body there. So we still have plenty of space here for, you know, the hand, the entire arm, so it doesn't interfere with the body. But it still has that more mechanical look, I guess. Let's see. So, actually, let me turn up. Totally forgot. I have a playlist just for this, specifically made for. Let's see where it was. Oh, right, music. Playlist. Play me the playlist. Here we go. Okay, now I think this body is just way too thick, just by itself. Sort of. It looks, it's starting to look a bit more basic, though. And I'm not sure if that's an advantage or disadvantage at this point. think I need more space in there, actually, to fit this thing. Either that or just make the cartridge smaller. Which, you know, is always an option. So, let's see. Let's say the actual cartridge slot ends right there. Let's just tone down the perspective there a little too much. Imagine the limitation if all these robots could do is just go in one direction, like back and forth. They'd have to like figure out a way of moving side to side, so they'd have to like turn around and kind of move their legs like tank treads in order to rotate their body. That would be interesting. I'm wondering if motion capture would recognize that kind of movement. I mean, probably. Huh. I mean, let's say it's just made for the legs, because then I can just, you know, keep this part, and I'm pretty sure animating it's gonna be a little bit easier. And I can stick to, you know, this system. It'd certainly take out some of the human characteristics out of movement. Interesting. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't like this. Not really. So let's get rid of that. Let's just bring this over here. Yeah. Bring that over there. And obviously, you know, get our circle in. Actually, yeah. There. So what if there is a just a thing that sticks out like the mount with a joint here, and the head is basically the hand, like probably the back of the head, because that would probably make more sense. Here we go. So that has a disc there, and then we'll have another disc like here, and we'll just keep going into the body. So this way, it's not really a circle. It's more like a rounded rectangle that we need on top of this surface. Like that. So, in which case, we could probably get another disc in here, only this one would be the bigger one. And actually, okay, well, how much of this stuff is already inside the body? Like, if I'm gonna go ahead draw the head here, and I realized that the head might not be quite at the same pitch as the rest of the body, but you know, just for the testing sake. So somewhere around here, I'm guessing is the left side. So that will move up and down. Now, how does it move left and right? Well, if I place the mechanism at the center, which I don't think it's gonna look quite as interesting aesthetically, but you know, see what it is. So this entire thing is gonna be at the center. Then I can just kind of move this entire mechanism without, you know, worrying about where the hell this thing is mounted. I'm still gonna leave this thing though. I know I can go back to a circular design, but kind of want to stick to this. Some of these things are on like totally different planes of existence. Oh, okay. I see what the problem is. So if I take this, then that is where the thing is supposed to end. Which, once again, if I was doing this with the perspective guides, I would probably found that right away. And the same thing here. So that is where this thing's supposed to end. There we go. That works out. Say something like this. Yeah, that works. See, I kind of think that these arms are a little too bulky. Like, I think I'm getting in the right direction with the general idea here. However, like, I'd say something like that is probably better suited. Yeah, actually, yeah. The gears are still of the same scale. Well, the only thing I'm gonna have to do on this side is fix the arm. But other than that, I mean, it's not too small to look high-techy. And it's not too little. Or it's not too big to appear like bulky and sort of strange. Not bad. Okay, that actually kind of works out. Oh god. Chicken scratching. I guess that's actually not bad. It looks mechanical enough, though, at least. And all these compartments would have to be, you know, modeled with either the lids on or lids off. Like the lids have fallen off after years and years of abuse, so to speak. Oh, hold on. Gonna go say hi to my dad. I think he's home. Ooh, wow, it is surprising just how hot this room gets with 2 computers running. Good golly. Okay. Whew. Let's see. So I think I'm kind of at the point where I can trace most of this stuff and have a design I can actually model. Why is that at the same level? Okay. So, oh yeah, there were a couple of things that I still have to add here. So, I'm gonna have to displace this entire slot to the left because I still have to make space for the charge port, so to speak. Even though, you know, I call it the charge port, it's like mechanical rod input, so to speak. Like we've seen some of those, well, not some of those, the Star Wars, what was it, the Old Menace, I think? The prequels. When R2-D2 was shoving his, like, interface, device into the elevator to get the elevator working, that same sort gets these citizens charged. And this is way too round. I think at some point there's just so much detail in the sketch that it's just easier to copy it and just make it black instead of tracing over, but you know, I still kind of want to trace over this. Since I moved everything there, I have to do that. actually get a... Hey, Jesus Christ Almighty. Okay. Not what I wanted to do. Actually, that is technically a part of the okay, so here, let me just not get confused with this stuff. So there's the rail. And there's a rail down below, but it's obscured by the handle. Now this should be going off over there. And what else? Like this line is technically supposed to be off here. Shiny. Okay, so since that is offset to the left, I'm gonna have to add, let's see, so this thing kind of goes like that. So our corner is somewhere around here. So I can get the charge port right over there. It'll be basically a standard little thing with a notch which goes in there. And, you know, let's see. And then, you know, in the spirit of retro, I'm gonna go ahead and make it beveled. And I'm gonna have this is decorative stuff at this point. go. Can I do a straight line here? I technically can get away with it. So that's the charging port. Let me actually just... generally speaking, yeah. Actually, I think, you know what? I think this thing should just go straight to the heart of the electronics. Not the electronics, the mechanics inside. So I should just expand this entire thing. And, you know, kind of reinforce the idea that there's a crevice in there, cavity, like that. So that would be the charging port. And now, obviously the last thing that I need is I need to look into the clock spring. For some reason I'm getting a lot of vehicle references, even though clock charge, I'm guessing that's because that's how vehicles return the wheel to the default position. Okay, well, gotta move on at some point. So the clock mechanism, charge, clock charge mechanism, that's the clock spring. And when I go for clock spring, it gives me vehicle parts. What I'm wondering is how the hell am I gonna animate it? Moving texture? Here we go. So, moving texture or a mesh. Physical mesh. God, who knows? I mean, you know what? It doesn't have to be a clock spring, because, I mean, yeah, the clock spring would probably mean that it's, you know, the source power, which is kind of, you know, the heart. But in this case, I think I can get away with just having a window. And the window is going to have the little inside on the movements. Come on, for God's sakes. Oh God, no. The atrocity that are my drawing skills. For God's sakes, here we go. That's not that. Don't do that. That is what I want to do. You can get out of here. Hey. Okay, so this window basically has a padded outside. In fact, I could just get rid of all of this stuff. Well, I said get rid. And I could just, you know, do the cheating way and here we go. I'll probably have to rotate it a bit. Like that. And also move it. Yeah, that's not the most aligned item ever. This is the beauty of digital painting. Quick results. Even though this thing is kind of going like this. It's fine. The entire thing is at an angle either way. Okay, I think for the most part I actually have what I need to draw. So with this thing, let me just go ahead and do... Probably gonna have to do several renditions of this particular piece. I feel like my swatch is a little off. Oh, shit pickles. Just drawing on the wrong layer. Wrong layer! Leave that transparent. Okay, I think that's fine. So what I can do is I can do several versions or several looks on this particular piece. There we go. So, don't think I'm gonna need the front view. I am gonna need the back view. So, which means same deal. I think there's a little bit of curve going on with this one, but that's okay. We can work with this. Actually, yeah. I think I'm gonna need to do something about the legs, because there's the disc. It still kind of goes through the middle there, so I think it's fine. As long as it doesn't suggest that this is the actual size of the axis. Hmm. Crap, I feel like these things are just on two separate planes of existence right now. To fix this stuff. That's what happens when I'm freehanding perspective. That's alright. We can get there. So this one's a little curved. So is this thing. So is that. So is that. And so is this. And I can kind of just get rid of that ugly, rigid transition line. Also, this thing's a bit higher. Okay, now it's at the back. Should I put a backpack on this thing? You know, like to store extra mechanical bits and pieces? Something that can get loose and say it'd be something that would contain a lot of gears. Obviously, in this case, things are less sketchy. So maybe I'd have something like this. Stores the extra mechanical bits. What else? I mean, I've never actually thought of what would go behind one of these machines. Kind of makes sense though. I mean, there's the cartridge itself is bulky enough to stay up, you know, to like occupy pretty much more than half the space in the entire body. So it'll probably only be logical that the rest of the mechanical bits would be located here. Maybe even just, you know, have a couple of tubes, maybe with like suspension fluid or braking fluid, so to speak. Not specifically for braking, but you know. I'm fairly certain that by the time, you know, clockwork mechanisms were advanced enough, we were using hydraulic presses and like hydraulic powered machinery. You see, this thing is kind of off-angled though. We gotta follow this line here. Put it back on. once again, we're not aligning. Okay. It's kind of turning into something interesting. Just kind of separate these planes. Okay, so this thing had the plate over here. And kind of continued off over here. Same thing over here. Like that. Now this part is a bit more flat. Just a bit. Now, do I really need to be redrawing the head and the arm, considering that this is pretty much all the design all there is to this design? So I'm pretty sure I'll know what it is. Yeah, I think it should be good enough. I mean, the rest is just rusty textures. All the important stuff is right over here. Alright, that'll do. Alright. So what I'm gonna do is gonna grab a quick break, get a bit of an exercise, and come back. And I think I will just quickly organize the most important stuff into one single sheet and just color it and move on to the next piece.